Welcome back to the Chris Gates Fitness Podcast. I really appreciate you being here and taking time out of your day to listen. And if you've been subscribed for a while, welcome back. Truly welcome back. It's been a while since I've had a new podcast episode out there, and we'll talk a little bit more about the plans for the podcast for the upcoming year here in a minute. But I genuinely appreciate that you've subscribed and you're listening to the episode today. In today's episode, we are going to address the topic or address the question of, is diet or exercise more important to lose belly fat? I feel like this is the time of year where, we're starting to think about our health and our fitness and what types of goals you may have for the upcoming year. And if you want to lose weight or want to lose body fat, want to tone up, feel more athletic, anything like that, this may be a question that you're asking yourself about, okay, what's more important? Do I need to focus more on my diet? Should I focus more on my exercise? Is there one that I should start with first or the other and then move on to something else? So we're going to address all of the questions and answers revolving around this topic of, is diet or exercise more important to lose belly fat? So I'm excited to dive into it. I hope you are too. I'll say right at the beginning, I have an article on this topic on my website right now, chrisgatesfitness.com. I put that article link in the description of this episode, so please feel free to check that out to learn a bit more. And while you're on the website, just a quick reminder, I am a coach, and if you're interested in getting some customized coaching to help you achieve whatever your health or fitness goals are going into the upcoming year, going into 2022, I have a link to my coaching page in the show description as well. So check that out for more information just about what online coaching looks like, what it would be like to work with me, and how you can apply. And if you apply, we can start to talk about what your goals are and if we might be able to put together a good program for you. Like I said, it's that time of year, right? Mid to late December, we start thinking about what our New Year's resolutions are going to be. A lot of people kind of like poo-poo them, right? Make fun of them. I really love resolutions. I set them for myself every year, try to do the best that I can to live up to those goals that I set for myself each year. And I'm sure that you have at least done that once or twice yourself. I'm going to be taking on a handful of new clients in January at the start of the new year. So like I said, definitely check out that coaching page if it's something that you might be interested in. And I'll have more information here as we approach the beginning of January 2022 as to how and when you can apply if you're interested in getting some coaching. In terms of my resolutions, like I said, I love to set resolutions, and one of mine is to get a podcast out every week this year. So rather than wait till January 1st of 2022, I'm starting on that right now in December of 2021, because I think I have some topics here as we round out this calendar year and head into the next one that will really help you if you are setting some goals for yourself for next year. So I want to get ahead of the New Year's resolutions, share some really helpful information with you, and I hope that, like I said, helps you start to put together a plan for yourself to achieve whatever goals you may have. I'm also setting a cardio resolution for myself because it's not something that I do enough, to be completely honest with you. And we're going to talk about cardio in this episode and how it relates to losing belly fat. But it's not something I do enough of, especially in the winter months where we are right now. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want it to be. I'm not going to set some crazy, like, hey, you're going to do cardio every day type of resolution. But I'm thinking about, saying a certain amount of days a week I want to get cardio in. And I'm kind of going between 3 days a week and 4 days a week. And I haven't really made up my mind. I like 4 because then if I'm doing cardio on 4 days a week, it's doing cardio on most of the days of the week, every week. And that feels good to me. I feel like 3 might be a little more feasible. So I haven't made up my mind yet. Curious what you think. If you have any thoughts, let me know what you think I should do or what you think would be the best New Year's resolution. But I'm thinking between 3 and 4 days a week of cardio. It has been such a long time since I put out an episode. I just want to let you know, while the podcast has been a little bit dormant, I've been writing up a storm. There are tons of new articles on my website, chrisgatesfitness.com. So definitely head over there, check out what's new. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter yet, you should definitely do that, because while the podcast has been kind of sitting around and waiting for a new episode, I've been sending new articles, new information out to everybody that's on my newsletter every single week. Once a week, I send out a newsletter. What's new? What can help you? Again, I have a link to that in the description of this show, so check that out. I have a new article on the way this week. It's about what kind of alcohol is best for weight loss, and really, more than anything, how to strategize, how to be able to incorporate alcohol into your daily or weekly routine so that you can enjoy that, but it's so that it doesn't ruin the goals that you have. So I'll be sending that out to my newsletter list as I always do. And again, I would highly recommend that you head over and subscribe. And the goal is just to give you as much free evidence-based information as I possibly can. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you also get a free diet guide, which is pretty cool. That'll help you set up your entire diet based on whatever goal you have. So that's worth checking out as well. But all right, enough of the shameless plugs. Let's get into the topic of the day, which I said is diet or exercise more important to lose belly fat? Okay, what should you focus on to lose belly fat? Diet or exercise? It is a extremely popular question. I know, because I get it all the time. And I'm going to guess it's probably one you've wondered about once or twice, at least. The two biggest pieces to any fat loss program tend to be, number one, managing your nutrition, and number two, participating in an exercise program of some sort. Obviously, there are a lot of other variables that come into play, but those are the two that are kind of top of mind most of the time, most popular, and we're going to address both of those. Does one of those matter more than the other? And sometimes I do episodes like this, and it's like a trick question, and at the end, you find out there is no thing that's most important, or everything is the most important. There actually is a real answer here, okay? So we're going to identify one thing that matters the most. Is it going to be exercise and burning calories? Is that what is going to lead to the most progress? Or is it going to be what you eat on a daily basis that really leads to you shedding some belly fat that you've always wanted to get rid of? We will answer that question. And I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. So let's first dive into some background information on both diet and exercise and kind of how they blend together to promote fat loss and specifically reductions in belly fat. And then after we cover that really important background information, we will nail down which one of these two things is the most important. Managing the amount of calories you consume is extremely important for losing belly fat, okay? At the end of the day, to lose belly fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. And now I've written and spoken about calorie deficits a ton. In the article that's linked in the show description for this episode, you'll find a ton of links to background information on calorie deficits. You could also just search Chris Gates Fitness calorie deficit, and you'll find a bunch of articles that explain why it's important and what it is. I will quickly summarize it here, though, just so we're on the same page, and so as we continue through the episode, you'll understand what I'm talking about if you don't have the background information on it. So a calorie deficit means you're in negative energy balance. It means that you're consuming fewer calories from food than your body burns each day. And background information here, calories are a unit of energy. So we're talking about the amount of energy you're putting into your body and then the amount of energy your body expends. When your intake is less than your output, you will lose body fat because you will be in a negative energy balance. You will be in a calorie deficit. There's quite literally no other way to do this. It's funny because a lot of like diet fads, diet trends, popular things that pop up about how people have lost so much weight doing like a cleanse or the keto diet or something like that. They all kind of make outlandish claims or things you've never heard of as opposed to like there's an ingredient in this and that's why I lost all this weight and you should try it too. All of that is bullshit. These things work. Like, let's focus on the keto diet because I feel like that's still kind of a popular trend. The keto diet works because it has you eliminating so much food from your diet that like the food that's left that you're able to eat, it's almost impossible for you to eat so much of it that you're not in a calorie deficit. So the reason the keto diet works is because you take all this food away, you take all these options away, and it puts you in a calorie deficit. The reason cutting carbs works is because you take all these carbs out of your diet and you're eating less energy, you're eating fewer calories, and it puts you in a calorie deficit. So whatever thing has worked for you in the past, if you've lost weight in the past, it's because you got yourself in a calorie deficit. Now, the resources I have on my website will dive into more information about like, okay, how do you get there? How do you know you're there? More strategizing. So definitely check those out if you want to learn more about it. So there's no other way to do it than be in a calorie deficit. That means you're carefully managing your nutrition. That's going to be important. And by getting in a calorie deficit consistently, you'll be setting yourself up for success with fat loss. Now, beyond energy balance, that is the number one most important thing. Without being in a calorie deficit, it's not going to happen for you. Sorry. You have to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. But there are some ways that you can structure the composition of your diet to help you lose body fat, help you lose belly fat as well. So high protein diets have been shown through the research to pretty effectively support fat loss, and that's for a number of reasons. First of all, we know that protein is the most filling macronutrient. It's the most satiating. So eating more protein is going to lead to an increased feeling of fullness for the calories that you're eating. So if you have a high protein diet, but you're eating fewer calories, that protein may help you feel fuller despite the fact that you're eating fewer calories each day than you had been previously. Protein is also going to come with the highest thermic effect of any macronutrient that you can consume. And what that means is by eating more protein, it's actually going to cause your body to burn more calories because your body has to burn more calories to digest protein as opposed to digesting carbohydrates and fats. So it's kind of another feather in the cap of protein. And lastly, when you pair this stuff with a strength training program, when you pair high protein with a strength training program, protein is effective at helping you actually build muscle. And the more muscle you build, the more you'll boost your own metabolism, which means you'll naturally burn more calories over time. And that means getting in a calorie deficit may become easier over time. The more you strength train, the more muscle you build, and the longer you're consistent with this stuff. So obviously protein is very important. On top of protein, we also have research that indicates foods that are high in fiber and or water content are effective at increasing the feeling of fullness after an individual meal. So this means if you have one meal that's high in fiber, one meal that's high in water content, or a combination of the two of them, you're pretty likely to feel full for an extended period of time after that one meal. And that can be really helpful to help avoid snacking or things like that in between meals, just again, in an effort to help you control calories as much as possible. So that's going to help promote you being in that calorie deficit that we talked about and eventually losing body fat and belly fat. High fiber and high water content are mostly found in fruits and vegetables. So you think about like eating a salad, the leafy greens often have a lot of water to them, and you add other vegetables that have water content in them. Same thing goes for fruits. So that water content and the fiber in those foods can be really beneficial. And I mean, they're also just nutritious. So it's a good thing to incorporate those in your diet on a regular basis. So what this all boils down to is, number one, managing your diet is important to lose belly fat. That's pretty straightforward. Number two, you need to be in a calorie deficit first and foremost before you dig into any of the other details. Number three, protein, fiber, and water content in the meals that you eat can help you get in a calorie deficit and stay there long term. And number four, regularly consuming protein, fruits, and vegetables is a great start. So lean meats, fruits, vegetables, it's really, really going to help you dial in your nutrition and support the goal that you have of losing body fat. Okay, now let's move to exercise, the second piece of this puzzle. Exercise also is a valuable tool when it comes to losing belly fat. And let's be really clear about why it's a valuable tool. Because exercise is not valuable because it helps you burn calories, okay? Too many people go down the wrong path of trying to burn as many calories as possible to lose a ton of weight, and it may work, but it will probably be miserable for you, and it can also potentially lead you to have a pretty unhealthy relationship between the balance of exercise, food, and the body composition goals that you have. So burning calories, yes, it's a byproduct of exercising, but it should not be the primary reason for why you exercise. I think it's important to break that stigma, okay? Rather, I think you should regularly exercise because it promotes a ton of health benefits that will actually build your body up as opposed to breaking your body down. We need to shift the focus on why we exercise here. People often gravitate to cardio to lose belly fat for the simple reason that it is probably the most efficient way to burn calories. Okay, cardio, we've seen through the research, and when you compare it to the amount of time that you're exercising and how many calories you can burn in a short period of time, cardio is typically going to be the most time efficient way for you to burn calories. But again, that is the wrong approach here. What you should focus on is the fact that cardio promotes better heart health. It improves brain and joint function. It's going to benefit many of the organs throughout your body, and it can promote better energy throughout the day, and it can even help promote better sleep. These are just a few of the benefits of regularly doing cardio, and these are the reasons to regularly do cardio as part of a fat loss protocol. Because if you think about it, if your body is functioning well, and you have more energy, and you're getting better sleep every day because you're doing cardio consistently, that's going to put you in the best position possible to stick to your fat loss goals every day. This is why we do cardio. Set yourself up for success. We do not do cardio to burn as many calories as possible, run your body into the ground, and get to some arbitrary finish line where you lose 20 pounds in a month, but then you get there, it was never sustainable. And when you go back to some more normal version of your life where you're not killing yourself doing cardio every day, you gain a lot of that weight back. There's no point in doing it that way. There just isn't, and it's unhealthy. So you do cardio regularly, you have the energy and ability to be in a calorie deficit and train hard on a regular basis. That's why you do it. And that's how it will help you lose belly fat. And you don't stop there, because strength training is actually probably the biggest piece to the fat loss puzzle when it comes to exercise. And so many people have what's the word I want to look for here? They have a misconception as to how exercise can contribute to fat loss and think cardio is the way to go. And a lot of times it's like, well, I have to do high intensity interval training because I heard from somebody that that's the best way to burn fat. When actually lifting weights is what's going to help you the most. Regularly, strength training can help you lose belly fat and improve your composition really in two main ways. So the first one is it's going to help you maintain the muscle mass that's on your body right now. Whatever muscle you've built over the years, if you're in a calorie deficit and you're strength training at the same time, your body is going to your brain is going to cue your body to lose weight from actual body fat, because if you're lifting weight, your brain is going to say, okay, well, the body is going through these difficult exercises where muscles are being used. I can't lose weight from muscle, so I need to go somewhere else to find energy to utilize for these, to get through the day, to get through these training sessions, and it will burn weight from body fat. And number two, it may actually help you build muscle throughout the fat loss process. A lot of people underestimate the amount of muscle you can build, or just kind of write it off and say you can't build muscle when you're in a calorie deficit. And there's tons of research that shows that you can. So you could actually build muscle throughout the fat loss process, and that would help your body composition even more. You'll look even better, at the end of this fat loss process because you lifted weights. So to recap, when you strength train, it encourages your body to build muscle. Your brain, it signals to the rest of your body that lifting weights was hard and muscle is needed in order to be able to do those same challenging exercises again, right? So you hold on to the muscle mass you have. You potentially even build new muscle mass when you lift weights. And by doing that when you're in a calorie deficit, it means your body will burn fat as its primary energy source, and you'll lose weight specifically from body fat. And so when we're talking about how to lose belly fat, is diet or exercise more important? Well, there's your answer right there. You want to lose that belly fat? Lift weights so you're burning specifically body fat, okay? That's the exact formula for losing belly fat, and it's the most effective way to lose it and to keep it off. So, okay, we've broken down nutrition, we've broken down training. Hopefully you can see a combination of both cardio and strength training along with the principles that we talked about with nutrition. All of these things combined are really going to help you build your body up and maximize the amount of body fat you're able to use. So let's answer this question now. Is diet or exercise more important to lose belly fat? I promised you an answer, like a individually specific answer here, and I'm going to deliver it to you. There is one of these things, diet, exercise. There is one that reigns supreme, and it is your diet. It is your nutrition. Hear me out. Millions of people in the world have lost belly fat without ever doing a planned workout, but nobody has sustainably lost belly fat without making some type of adjustment to their diet. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people just eat less or eat healthier and lose body fat. But nobody has ever done it sustainably without like making that tweak to their nutrition. And this all comes back to the concept and the principle of a calorie deficit, which we talked about earlier. A calorie deficit is required to lose belly fat. There is nothing else you can do to lose belly fat, lose body fat, other than be in a calorie deficit. And quite honestly, it does not matter how you get there. As long as you get there, you will lose fat. So if you've gained excess belly fat or body fat over the years, it's because you have not been in a calorie deficit. You've actually been eating in a calorie surplus. It's the opposite of a calorie deficit. It means you've been consuming more calories than you've burned on a daily basis for an extended period of time, right? So the quickest, most efficient, most sustainable way to reverse that trend and start losing belly fat is to get yourself into a calorie deficit. And the quickest, most efficient, and most sustainable way to get into a calorie deficit is to reevaluate what you're doing with your diet and make some changes. What I would suggest to you, if you're trying to start this process for yourself, is do not make drastic changes. Okay, I mentioned the keto diet earlier on in this episode. I don't want you to think like, okay, I got to make changes to my diet, so I'll just like eliminate a bunch of foods that I think are the culprit for why I gained weight, and I'll lose that weight because I'm not eating them anymore. I would not make drastic changes. I would actually encourage you to make very small tweaks to your nutrition. So whatever you're doing right now, think about 1 or 2, maybe 3 tweaks you can make. And do that for a few weeks and see how your body responds. Track your nutrition. If you don't know how to do that, I have information on my website about it. Track your weight loss progress over time. Weigh yourself every morning. Change as little as possible and evaluate how it's changing your body composition over time. And only make changes when it's necessary. If you're losing weight, if your waistline is shrinking, if you're seeing in pictures that your body is changing for the better, keep going. Don't change anything. If you see that those things aren't happening, then you probably need to make an additional 1 tweak or 2 tweaks. That's going to be most important for you. But I don't want you to get this twisted. I'm not saying you should abandon exercise altogether, okay? You need to first address your diet. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to get in a calorie deficit. But I do think you should exercise as well. And I think you should do some combination of strength training and cardio. These are kind of like numbers 1A and 1B in terms of importance for losing belly fat. They both matter a lot. So get into a calorie deficit, address your nutrition, But I'd also recommend that you regularly participate in both cardio and strength training throughout the week. And we talked about why, right? We talked about the importance and the benefits of both of those. I have an article on my website that has a ton of details on how much you should exercise to lose belly fat. So you can check that out, and that may give you a better breakdown or understanding of how to put together the exercise program in the right way, but make sure that you're still exercising and doing some type of cardio and strength training. This all comes down to behavior change, right? Behavior change with your diet in order to make progress that you can sustain, and the same thing with your training. It kind of goes back to the old adage of you can't out-exercise a bad diet, and that is 100% true. The amount of work it's going to take you to burn off calories from a bad diet is really absurd, and it goes back to why you shouldn't ever think you could do that in the first place. It's not reasonable. That's not a reasonable expectation. That's a foolish approach to trying to lose body fat, trying to lose belly fat. Think about this. The average person burns right around 100 calories walking a mile. So if you overeat by 300 to 500 calories a day, if your surplus is 300 to 500 calories a day, that means you're going to have to walk 3 to 5 miles just to break even, just to maintain your weight every single day. Does that sound feasible to you? Does that sound sustainable? Does it sound enjoyable? Of course it doesn't. None of that sounds great. So to lose the unwanted belly fat, address both your diet and exercise plans, but first address your diet. Give that a little extra care and attention, okay? It's going to serve you well for the rest of your life. Because without changing your approach to the way that you eat, without some type of shift, behavior change from what you're doing now to those tips that we went through earlier about having high protein, high fiber, high water content in your meals. If you don't do that, you're going to constantly struggle to lose belly fat and keep it off. You're just going to yo-yo diet, or even worse, you're never going to make any progress. Diet is more important to lose belly fat, but combining both diet and exercise is going to be what's most powerful to lose belly fat and keep it off. I really hope this helps. Like I said, I am so happy to be back on the podcast, pumping out episodes for you, and I really, really do appreciate you listening. If this episode helped you get a better idea of how to set up a diet and exercise plan, that's awesome. If you have questions, you can always contact me. There's a contact form on my website. You can email me, chris@chrisgatesfitness.com. I'm on like every social media. Just look up Chris Gates Fitness. You can find me, shoot me a message, and I would be happy to help. That's all I want to do is help, and I hope this was helpful. And like I said at the beginning, if you're interested in getting some personalized coaching to help you lose belly fat, help you go through this process and navigate and understand when is the right time to make changes, that's what I do with my clients. And I work with people all over the world to do that every single day. Hit that coaching page. If you're interested, fill out a coaching application form, and we're going to hit the ground running here in 2022 and change some more lives. So I'm excited to do it. And if you are too, I look forward to hearing from you. But that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you again. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you again soon.